All right, so this is covering slope notes. So to begin, we want to know what slope-intercept form is, and that is y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. M, meaning your slope, means your rise over your run, so how much you're going up or down, left or right. B is your y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis. If you need to pause the video to write, go ahead and pause and then play when you're ready. Graphing slope. So the first step is to make sure the equation is in that slope-intercept form we talked about up here. If it's not, you need to place it in slope-intercept form first before continuing on to step 2. Step 2, you want to locate m and b in the equation and determine what they are in numbers. Step 3 is that you're going to begin by plotting b on your graph, which is your y-intercept. Step 4 is from that y-intercept, you're going to use your slope to move to your next point. Step 5 would be to repeat using your slope to move from the last point you made to one more point. You also can do a reversal, which I'll talk about on the next page. Your last step would be to draw a line connecting the 3 points using a straight edge. Very important. Go ahead and pause the video to continue writing. Press play when you're ready to move forward. So here we have 2 examples. In both of these examples, you'll notice that the equation is in slope-intercept form. So the other thing you'll notice is we've got a positive slope in one and a negative slope in another, a positive y-intercept in one and a negative y-intercept in another. So we're going to go over how to do both of these problems. So the first thing to do is to identify your slope and your y-intercept. You have to include any sign when you're identifying these. So this is a positive 3/5 and it's attached to the x. That tells you that's your slope, 3/5, and it's positive. Your y-intercept is a positive 2. It's what's coming after the x. So your y-intercept is a positive 2. For your slope, to know what direction you're going to be moving once you plot that y-intercept, if your top number is positive, you're going to go up. If your top number is negative, you're going to go down. If your bottom number is positive, you move to the right, and if your bottom number is negative, you move to the left. So in this case, since we have 2 positive numbers, we're going to be going up 3 and to the right 5 after we plot this positive 2. It's the y-intercept, which means you plot it on the y-axis. So I plot positive 2, and then I follow these instructions. I go up 3 and to the right 5, and I make my next point. Now, you could just use your straight edge and connect these 2 points and draw your line. I always like to do a 3rd point because I feel it makes your line more accurate. So you'll notice if I tried to go up 3 and right 5, I would run out of graph. So what you can do is you can do a reversal, which means you reverse both directions in your slope. So instead of going up 3 and right 5, I'm going to go down 3 and left 5. So from here, if I go down 3 and left 5, it should take me back to that very first point, my y-intercept. And then I would go down 3 and left 5, and that would give me my 3rd point, and I can connect it. For example 2, we've got y equals a negative 2/3 x minus 1. So again, I included those signs when I wrote down my slope and my y-intercept. So seeing as my slope is a negative 2/3, the negative either has to go with your top number or your bottom number. It cannot go with both. If you did a negative 2 and a negative 3, that would turn this into a positive fraction. And it's not, it's a negative one. So negative 2 means we're going down 2 spaces. Positive 3 means we're going right 3 spaces. And we're starting at negative 1 on our y-axis. So I went ahead and plotted negative 1, and then I went down 2 and right 3, and I plotted a point, down 2 and right 3, and I made my 3rd point. And then I connected all 3 with a line. Go ahead and pause to catch up on your writing and press play when you're ready to continue. So this would be an example of one that is not in slope-intercept form. 8x plus 4y equals 12. So we have to put it in slope-intercept form before we can continue, which means we need to use our algebra skills. So I subtract 8x from both sides of the equation, and that removes it from here, and I'm left with 4y equals 12 minus 8x. Then this is 4 times y, so you need to do the opposite and divide. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I'm dividing everything by 4. That will cancel out the 4's and leave me with just y. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Negative 8x divided by 4 is a negative 2x. Then we want to switch this so it's in that y equals mx plus b form. Remember, this is a negative 2x, so you have to move that whole thing over, negative 2x. And this is a positive 3, so I have to put plus 3. Now that it's in that form, I can go ahead and write out my slope and my y-intercept. My y-intercept is the positive 3. My slope was a negative 2, but it has to be a fraction, so we've got to rise over a run. If you have a whole number, you just put it over 1, okay? And so I'm going to be going down 2 and to the right 1 from that first point that I plot. So I went ahead and plotted a positive 3. I went down 2 and right 1 and made a point. I went down 2 and right 1 and made a point, and then connected my lines. This is the end of Slope Notes for today. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.